I told myself that I wouldn't come back. I told myself that I wouldn't come back. And yet, here I am. Hey guys, Victoria here, and welcome to the Geeky Sandbox. Before we get started, if you're a huge fan of TV shows, or you're simply looking for a TV show to get into, go ahead and leave this video a like rating down below. And if you're new to my channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you can get more TV show reactions and reviews like this one. For those of you who know me in my personal life and IRL, if you know me in real life, you know how much I used to love Pretty Little Liars up until a certain point. I loved Pretty Little Liars. It was one of my favorite TV shows. And you know, the TV show was very good for the most part, but a lot of us will agree within the Pretty Little Liars fandom that after a certain point, it kind of went downhill. Like as most TV shows do, they have their ups and downs in regard to season, in regard to the person and their preference for what they wanted to see in regard to characters, the direction the director and writer wanted to take. There's just so many factors that play into how you feel about a TV show at a certain point. I'm going to pause this right here because if you guys kind of want to stay spoiler free in regard to Pretty Little Liars, then you might want to pause this video and don't watch anything moving forward. But if you don't care about any of that and you're just trying to see if you're going to get into Pretty Little Liars: The Perfectionists or Pretty Little Liars: The Original Series in general, then please continue to watch. For me personally, the show started kind of falling down after maybe about season 5, or the moment you realize Allison is back. And everyone has their pick and preference for who they wish the big ultimate A was in the very end, or where at some places where we feel like the reveal of A could have stopped. But yeah, so this was it was a very interesting ride, and I told myself that I was not going to watch Pretty Little Liars: The Perfectionists, which is a spin-off of the original series. And originally they just called it The Perfectionists, but they tagged on that Pretty Little Liars bit. I feel like it was a marketing thing just to get us original fans who watched back in, hence why they brought back 2 original cast members from the first series. Personally, I wasn't a huge fan of how everything panned out, though I do love Trowan, and I did love Spencer. She was one of my all-time favorite characters in Pretty Little Liars, but I digress. But here I am anyways, reviewing the first episode of season 1 of Pretty Little Liars: The Perfectionists. Since this is just the first episode, normally when I do TV show reviews, I talk about my top 10 moments, but I'm going to keep it very chill and talk about my top 5 moments. So without further ado, guys, let's go ahead and jump right into that. Alright guys, what a crazy first episode. We have a lot to unpack here. And just for those of you who are confused, this isn't a continuation of Pretty Little Liars. It is in fact a spin-off. So we will be mentioning a lot of new characters. Of course, you have your regulars like Sasha, who plays Allison De Laurentiis, and Janelle, who plays Mona. So you do have those 2 familiar faces returning. However, we do have a lot of new characters. We have Cindy Park, who plays Caitlin. And you guys may know Sydney Park from The Walking Dead. She played Cindy. She did a really great job in that series. We also have Sophia Carson, who plays Ava. You guys may know her from Disney, a few Disney things, which is a little bit after my Disney run. She was in The Descendants, as well as Austin and Ally. And then of course you have Eli Brown, who plays Dylan, but another one I want to mention is Kelly Rutherford. And you guys may know her. She's been in a lot of different things where she plays like this high class kind of woman in a very rich society. Like she's played a variety of other roles, but those definitely stick out to me because I first saw her as Mrs. Vanderwoodson, Serena's mother in Gossip Girl. So this role fits her perfectly. She's playing Claire in this series. So before we even get into our top 5 moments, the beginning of the episode was actually very intriguing. I knew I was watching something that was supposed to be very suspenseful just because of the way they built up everything, and they kind of give you a little idea of what the characters are into. You find out Ava's into fashion design, Dylan is a music major, while Caitlin is like very poised athlete who's very, very smart. So just basic level information about these characters. And I do love that Dylan was practicing his music on his cello and his song choice was Poker Face, which is telling for this entire series, I'm sure, and probably as for him as a character. And then we also get to see Allison kind of come onto the scene, and we just kind of learned that, you know, she just recently moved to Oregon just to join the BHU faculty, and BHU is Beacon Heights University, and she claims she doesn't know a soul. And I'm kind of happy that this all takes place within a like college kind of setting, just to get us out of that high school feel. Because I'm sure one of the things they thought through was that they didn't want people to completely compare this series to Pretty Little Liars. They wanted it to be able to stand on its own, even though they do have the name tagged at the front of the title of this show. So I don't know, we'll see how that goes, but I do personally like a good college setting in regards to like a murder mystery thing. Number 5. We learn that Mona's in town. We learn exactly why Mona's back, and we learn exactly what happened to Emily. So the scene starts and we get a huge jump scare by Mona, who brought pie, and I love it. She just kind of reflects on the time that she was in France, which is where we all last saw her in Pretty Little Liars. She was being a little devious. She was actually keeping Spencer's twin and her birth mom captive, and I guess the whole thing with that is she says she kind of forgot the true reason she was out there and the reason she decided to go to France. It just all got muddied, I'm pretty sure, by the game. Her and Allison are currently on the rocks because Allison says Emily can't get over the past. She can't get over the lies and the cheating and all these other crazy things that were going on. And I do wonder if there's more to that story that they're going to unwrap as the series continues. But you know, I wouldn't be surprised if there wasn't anything like that, because like I said, they're trying to make this a very standalone kind of series without bringing back all those characters in permanently. So this isn't Allison's story, whereas it's Ava's story, it's Dylan's story, and it's Caitlin's story. So I would completely understand why they wouldn't bring Emily back in and just chose to kind of simply explain everything with one line. But yeah, you know, but at the same time, it does kind of suck and it's a little disappointing because I wanted more of an explanation. But like I said, I'm just accepting it because I understand it goes back to, this isn't Allison's story. This isn't the girl's story. This is a new chapter of the whole Pretty Little Liars type thing. But anyway, we learn that Allison is determined to win Emily's trust back and do the right thing by the kids she'll be teaching. And it's interesting to see this side of Allison because we always knew her as the mean girl, and now she's this mentor. And Mona isn't well. She seems to be talking to herself again, unless there's a two-way mirror that has a monitor behind it, or it's some kind of camera system going on, because it just seems a little odd for Mona to be back in that place. And just a sidebar, I'm not gonna lie, I like TA Mrs. De Laurentiis. She seemed to really own the classroom, and I liked her teaching style. And of course, the classroom scene was very interesting. Of course, you can't have a scene like that without someone going after someone in class. And in this case, it was Nolan Hotchkiss, which is the brother of Taylor Hotchkiss, a student who killed herself at the university. And these two kids are both the kids of Kelly Rutherford's character. So we know that they are a very rich and wealthy family, and there's a lot of story there. Number 4. So just to keep this very simple, Nolan has kind of blackmailed all of these guys, Ava, Dylan, Caitlin, just into being his friends and dating him, just so that way it looks like he has a normal and healthy life to his mother, who he's trying to appease. But anyways, Mona is already on top of things. She's been at this university for a while just teaching, and she already has an idea of how dangerous Nolan is. And when Allison tries to talk to her about it, Mona just tells her, like, you really need to stay away from him. There's something off about him. He's dangerous. And just another side note, of course, I got to talk about Kelly Rutherford. She's doing an amazing job as Nolan's mother. We can see where he gets his cunning and higher than thou demeanor from. She has a suspicion that he's dating Ava, and she wants proof. So of course she gets access to BH5, which I guess is an active surveillance system on her son. The whole school is covered and crawling in cameras. Number 3. Allison tries to help the kids. So we kind of learned that Dylan has a mean streak, and I like it. I want to learn more about it. I want to see how that unfolds throughout the series. He pretty much tells Nolan that if he keeps messing with his relationship, he'll see just how mean he can get. Allison tries to confide in Caitlin to just kind of get her to tell her exactly what's going on. She reveals with ease, because Allison is Allison. She says she has experience with this whole thing. She's saying she used to be Nolan. And she's saying, you know, just tell me what's going on. I already know about Ava. I already know about Dylan. Just let me in and maybe I can help. She's like, I know a thing or two about manipulation. And boy, if only Caitlin knew what Allison is referring to and what Allison has been through. Allison also tries to help Dylan by telling him unless he tells her what's going on, she's simply just going to have to report the plagiarism because, as we talked about earlier, he wrote Ava and Nolan's papers. And just to add on to the side note, Allison looks so much like Taylor Hotchkiss, who I mentioned again was Nolan's sister who unfortunately took her life, and it is freaking Allison out. And just before she can get enough research just to kind of get more photos of her and see what's going on, like her access is cut off on the servers. And Mona, who is still talking to herself at this point, just kind of tells Allison like, hey, you know this is a coincidence. And Allison says, which I love this line, did you not learn anything from Rosewood? There are no coincidences. Number 2. Taylor Hotchkiss is still alive. I don't know how many of you guys saw this coming. I wanted to give them the benefit of the doubt and just believe that Taylor Hotchkiss was in fact gone. But anyways, Nolan goes to visit his sister who is alive and well. It's revealed she and him are working together to take down the school and their surveillance system. Does this mean that Nolan is still a butt? Yeah, he's still a butt, but there seems to be multiple layers to him. And I'm not gonna lie guys, Taylor being alive is the thing that kind of pulled me back into my interest in this first episode. Number 1. Nolan actually drops dead. So I've read the summary for this book in the past, and when I heard them joking about different ways Nolan can just go and die, I had a feeling this was coming up. So in the book they do a similar thing. They joke about how Nolan can die, how they kind of want to kill him, and then the next day he ends up dead. So like I said, same thing in the show happens, except within a few hours he winds up dead in a very similar way Caitlin described. And now, you know, at this point everybody is a suspect. And just a little bonus, we learn Mona isn't crazy and she isn't just talking to herself as we suspected. So some of the mirrors she's been looking at, whether it's in the restroom or the mirror in the on-campus housing that Allison is living in, or even the rearview mirror in her car, we know that she's being surveillanced and she's being watched. I'm just trying to figure out if Mona knows that these are other people talking to her, or if they're just playing on her illness that she suffered in Pretty Little Liars, which isn't cool, because they tell her to go back to your quiet place, Mona, and she kind of listens to them. So I can't tell if they genuinely mean, Mona, you need to lay low, or if they are in fact playing on Mona's illness and just kind of messing with her head. So overall, I'm not quite sure how I feel about the episode. I think I need more time with the characters. There was a lot of stuff that they managed to squeeze in, but it didn't seem overwhelming. I didn't feel like there was too much going on because, like I said, I still want to know more about the characters. They did do a good job trying to shoe in Allison and Mona just for us old-time Pretty Little Liars fans, and they also tried to give us new information, like I said, on the new characters. However, I do feel like the show having Pretty Little Liars at the top of it does kind of give that illusion of, oh, this is going to be just like Pretty Little Liars. But like I said, this show really is trying to do their own thing and have a standalone story. Of course, Pretty Little Liars and The Perfectionists is written by the same author, Sarah Shepard. So of course you're going to have similar themes, similar kind of characters, and similar twists. I mean, there's only so many twists you can have within a murder mystery series or book. So of course we're going to see those similarities. But I am hoping that the show does very well and that it only goes up from here. With the first episode alone, it wasn't enough to just grasp me, but of course I'm going to continue to watch it just because I'm interested in, if anything, the whole surveillance side of it all. I feel like in the end, it wasn't actually Taylor in the end. It was this whole surveillance thing, and just kind of wondering what that's all about, because that was a lot bigger than I was expecting it to be. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you did like it, remember, go ahead and give this video a like rating down below. And of course, subscribe to the channel if you did enjoy it. And if you want to see more recaps for The Perfectionists moving forward. And go ahead and drop me a comment. How did you feel about this first episode? And do you feel that bringing back Allison for this series is necessary? But anyways, guys, I digress. I've talked long enough. I'm going to let you go. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.